America's cities are cracking, not in slow motion, but in real time. Places that once symbolized opportunity, culture, and stability are now bleeding residents, losing businesses, and struggling to provide even the basics. Rising crime, impossible rent, decaying infrastructure, open-air drug scenes, and a shrinking middle class are turning former dream destinations into places people escape from. These used to be the cities people moved to for a better life. Now they pack their cars and run. Not because they want to, but because staying has become a financial and physical burden. This isn't fear-mongering. This is the new American reality. Cities becoming unlivable not from one single disaster, but from 1,000 small failures piling up year after year. Some cities are collapsing quietly. Others are collapsing loudly. But the pattern is the same: growth on paper, decline on the streets. So which places are reaching a breaking point? Let's get into the 10 American cities that are quietly becoming unlivable. Starting with number 10, Portland, Oregon. Portland used to be one of America's most charming cities. Creative, peaceful, and proudly weird people moved here for the coffee shops, the music scene, the outdoor lifestyle. But that version of Portland doesn't exist anymore. What you see today is a city struggling with a collapse. It refuses to admit the biggest problem: the open-air drug epidemic. Entire sidewalks turned into smoke dens, fentanyl scenes that look post-apocalyptic. Streets where tents and makeshift shelters line every block downtown, once a vibrant hangout spot, now feels hollow. Stores boarded up, businesses gone, foot traffic dead. Crime followed the decline: car theft, break-ins, random attacks, all rising. Even longtime residents say the city feels unsafe in broad daylight. And the police force? Shrinking morale low. Response times slow. They simply can't keep up with what's happening on the streets. Add the housing crisis on top. Rents shot up, home prices exploded, and the city's policies made construction slower, pricier, and more complicated. You end up with this bizarre mix: expensive housing next to collapsing neighborhoods. Portland didn't fall overnight, but it's falling, block by block, and residents are leaving faster than the city can replace them. Number 9, Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles is the perfect example of a city that looks glamorous from a distance, but completely broken up close. People imagine Hollywood, beaches, sunshine, but the reality is a city crushed under its own weight. Start with the homeless crisis. It's not a problem anymore. It's a full-blown humanitarian disaster. Highways lined with tents, sidewalks overtaken by encampments, fires under bridges, crime inside and around these zones skyrocketing. LA has more homeless people than many states. Living here is almost impossible unless you're wealthy. Rent is insane. Buying a home is fantasy level. A regular one-bedroom can feel like a mortgage. And wages? They don't match the cost of living, not even close. Then add traffic. You can lose 2 hours going 10 miles. The infrastructure can't handle the population. Roads feel like parking lots. Crime is creeping upward, especially retail theft and violent incidents in certain districts. Businesses are leaving. Even major brands are shutting down stores because safety costs more than revenue. Number 8, Chicago, Illinois. Chicago is a city with world-class architecture, food, and culture, but none of that can hide the fact that large parts of the city are in serious decline. Violent crime continues to dominate headlines. Entire neighborhoods are trapped in cycles of shootings, carjackings, and break-ins. Some families don't let their kids walk to school anymore. That's how bad it is. The population exodus is real. People who lived here for generations are packing up because they simply don't feel safe or financially stable. Every year, Chicago loses more residents than it gains. And it's not just crime, it's economic decay. Some neighborhoods look abandoned. Businesses close and never return infrastructure ages. Schools struggle. And the city government keeps raising taxes while services get worse. Downtown Chicago used to be the heart of the Midwest. But after the pandemic, remote work hit hard. Offices emptied out. Transit ridership collapsed. Even the magnificent Mile has vacant storefronts. Something unthinkable 10 years ago, Chicago has all the potential in the world and all the warning signs of long-term decline. Number 7. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Philadelphia is one of America's oldest, most historic cities, and one of the most rapidly deteriorating. The decline isn't subtle anymore. It's visible the moment you step off the train. Open-air drug markets, abandoned blocks, trash piling up, and overwhelmed police who simply can't fight every fire at once. Kensington has become the symbol of the collapse, a neighborhood where addiction, homelessness, and crime blend into a daily disaster. People slumped over from fentanyl dealers operating openly, streets full of tents and needles. This is happening in broad daylight. Transit has become unsafe. Riders report harassment, robberies, and violent incidents. Ridership is down because people don't feel safe using the system anymore. Small businesses? They're closing at a worrying rate. It's hard to run a shop when theft, vandalism, or random violence can hit you any day. Costs go up. Customers disappear. Profit evaporates. Philadelphia isn't dying because people don't care. It's dying because leadership failed to control the issues that got out of hand years ago. What used to be a proud, gritty American city is becoming a warning sign. 6. Seattle, Washington. Seattle was once the dream destination for tech workers, creatives, and nature lovers. But the city is stuck in a bizarre contradiction. High salaries and booming companies on one side, collapsing quality of life on the other, start with cost. Housing is absurd. Even people earning 6 figures feel squeezed. Renters struggle to save anything. Homebuyers face prices that feel completely detached from reality. Combine that with a downtown that's hollowing out. After remote work exploded, Seattle's office sector took a beating. Many buildings are half empty. Some restaurants and shops that relied on office workers just closed for good. Crime is rising, especially property crime, break-ins, and random assaults. Walk around certain parts of downtown at night and you'll feel the shift. Security guards are everywhere, but they can't do much. The drug crisis is brutal. Overdoses in public spaces. Encampments expanding faster than the city can clear them. Residents say they feel like their city is slipping away. Seattle still has wealth, jobs, and beauty, but that only makes the collapse more painful. The gap between the rich tech workers and the declining streets keeps getting wider. Number 5. New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans is one of America's most unique cities. Rich culture, great food, historic charm. But underneath all that is a city struggling with severe long-term problems nobody has fixed. Crime is out of control. Violent crime rates are among the highest in the country. Carjackings, shootings, and robberies happen at a frequency that simply shouldn't exist in a major city. Even locals avoid certain areas after sunset. City services are deteriorating. Potholes everywhere. Slow emergency response. Basic maintenance ignored. Corruption and mismanagement have become part of the city's identity, which erodes trust and slows progress. Then there's the financial strain. Everything costs more. Groceries, rent, utilities. Tourism money can't fix deep structural problems, and there aren't enough strong industries outside hospitality to create stability. People love New Orleans, but loving a city doesn't stop it from declining. Residents are leaving, and those who stay are frustrated, tired, and uncertain about the future. Number 4. San Francisco, California. San Francisco might be the clearest example of a city collapsing from the top. Down tech made it wealthy. Insanely wealthy. But that wealth hid the cracks for years, and now those cracks have turned into sinkholes. The homelessness crisis is massive encampments in almost every district. People passed out from fentanyl on sidewalks, streets littered with needles, public health issues that would be considered extreme in developing countries. Yet here they're just normal. Costs are insane, rent is beyond absurd. Buying a home is reserved for people making 6 figures, after taxes. Middle-class families have no chance. Even tech workers feel stretched thin. The downtown collapse is shocking. Major companies left. Remote work emptied office towers. Foot traffic dropped. Stores closed in clusters. Whole blocks feel abandoned. Crime, especially property crime, exploded. Car break-ins are so common, tourists leave windows open to show there's nothing to steal. San Francisco went from being the symbol of American innovation to the symbol of what happens when a city ignores reality until it's too late. Number 3, New York City. New York. New York City used to feel invincible, the global capital of ambition. Now it feels like a city constantly fighting its own weight. Start with crime. No, it's not the 70s again, but repeat offenders are a massive problem. People get arrested, released, and go right back to committing the same crimes. Subway incidents are up. Random assaults make headlines weekly. Commuters admit they avoid certain lines after dark. The cost of living is simply insane. Rent for a basic one-bedroom can easily hit $3,000 to $4,000. Groceries, utilities, transportation. Everything is overinflated. People feel like they're working just to keep from drowning. Shelters are overwhelmed. New York has taken in massive numbers of migrants, and the system was not designed for this volume. Hotels, gyms, and old buildings are being converted into emergency housing. Resources are stretched thin. Neighborhoods are feeling the strain. The middle class is disappearing. Either you're wealthy or you're barely hanging on. There is no in-between anymore. Families are leaving for New Jersey, Florida, Texas, and the Carolinas, anywhere with lower taxes and a normal cost of living. The energy of NYC is still there, but the cracks are widening. The question isn't, is New York dying? It's, how much more can it absorb before people just walk away? Number 2, Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore is a heartbreaking story because the collapse has been happening for decades. Slow, relentless, and rarely addressed honestly. Entire blocks are abandoned. Hundreds of empty row houses, boarded windows, neighborhoods where half the buildings are unlivable. The city feels hollowed out. Crime is brutal. The homicide rate is one of the highest in the country. Carjackings, shootings, robberies. They're part of daily life. Police are understaffed, morale is low, and communities don't trust them. Schools are failing. There are schools where students can't read at grade level, where basic heating and cooling systems don't work. Kids aren't being set up for success. They're being set up for survival. Businesses leave because they can't operate safely or profitably. Once they leave, the job loss pulls more stability out of the city. It becomes a feedback loop. Fewer jobs, more poverty, more crime, fewer businesses. Repeat Baltimore has incredible people and culture, but realistically, it has been collapsing for a long time, and reversing that decline would take leadership the city hasn't had for years. Number 1, St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis is the perfect example of a city that didn't collapse suddenly. It just slowly bled out until nobody wanted to face the reality. Crime numbers are off the charts. Not because the entire city is dangerous, but because certain neighborhoods are in complete freefall. Car theft, break-ins, assaults, violent incidents. St. Louis routinely ranks at or near the top for violent crime, year after year. Population loss is massive. People aren't just leaving, they're escaping. The city has lost more than half its population over the past few decades. Think about that. A major American city shrinking like a dying industrial town. The economy never truly recovered from manufacturing collapse. Jobs disappeared, and nothing comparable replaced them. What's left is poverty, boarded homes, and a city government that can't keep up with decay. Schools struggle, police struggle, small businesses struggle. St. Louis didn't just become unlivable, it became a warning sign for what happens when a city is ignored for too long. This is America's long-term collapse city, and the sad part is, hardly anyone talks about it. So what's actually the real reasons behind the collapse? America's cities aren't falling apart because of one single villain. It's a combination of failures stacking on top of each other until the foundation cracks. Leadership is a major issue. Too many cities are run by people who talk endlessly, promise everything, and deliver nothing. Crime explodes, taxes rise, services decline, and nobody takes responsibility. Inflation is crushing families. Wages don't match rent. Groceries cost too much. Energy bills are unpredictable. When people feel financially squeezed, they leave. Simple as that. The drug epidemic is another driving force. Fentanyl is destroying entire neighborhoods. Police can't keep up. Social workers are overwhelmed. Cities let open-air drug markets form because they weren't prepared for this new level of addiction. Housing is a disaster. Developers aren't building for the middle class. They build luxury units or nothing. Working families get priced out. Corporations are bailing out. Remote work killed downtown office districts. Companies realize they don't need expensive headquarters. When they leave, restaurants die, transit loses riders, and streets feel empty. Emptiness attracts crime. Police shortages make everything worse. Officers retire early. New recruits don't join. Cities are left with fewer people trying to handle more chaos. This is the real reason cities fade. Not one catastrophic event, but thousands of small failures happening at the same time. The future of American cities. If this trend continues, the future is crystal clear and ugly. Downtowns will become ghost zones at night. Office towers half empty. Stores boarded up, streets that used to be full of workers will feel abandoned. Service cuts will follow. Less tax revenue means fewer teachers, fewer firefighters, fewer police trash pickup slows. Parks degrade. Transit becomes unreliable. AI and automation are about to hit cities even harder. Entry-level jobs, customer service, basic office roles. Many will disappear. Cities with already weak economies will be hit the hardest. People will continue relocating to small towns, suburbs, and cheaper states. Not because they hate cities, but because cities stopped offering a good life. Safety, affordability, and stability matter more than big city excitement. Some cities will recover, but many won't. The cities that survive will be the ones that adapt fast. The ones that don't will slowly fade into a second-tier existence. Shells of what they once were. Cities don't collapse in a single moment. There's no dramatic explosion, no warning siren, no single headline. They die slowly, block by block, business by business, family by family. You don't notice it at first. A store closes. A street gets a little more dangerous. A friend moves away, then another. So here's the real question. Which city do you think is next to break, and which ones still have a chance to turn the ship around? Drop your thoughts below. I read every comment. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Living Wise Global, your window into America's changing story, where we uncover what's really happening beneath the headlines.